Ganesh Natarajan, who's also joined in now. Ganesh, morning. What do you have to say to this point from Forrester that Tech Mahindra may not have the requisite management bandwidth, size, or even their presence in verticals which will give a lot of comfort to Satyam's current clients? Many of them may choose to shift. That is Forrester's point.
No, I have a different point of view on this, Udayan, because I genuinely believe that Tech Mahindra is a strong company, and it doesn't matter if they don't have any immediate demonstrable capability in the verticals. Because if you look at big customers like British Petroleum, if you look at Cisco, I think all these guys are looking for companies with a strong balance sheet. And don't forget, Satyam is a running company. They already have very good teams in their large accounts. In fact, we ourselves from NASSCOM, I remember talking to these customers and many more. And all they were saying was, give us a company which is stable, which is rock solid, which you all guys have faith in. And I think it's a good move, because irrespective of whether they have vertical competence at this point, I think they will bring the much needed stability to the company, to the employees and the customers. And I don't see any grave dangers of customers jumping ship at this point of time.
Som, you want to come in on that? You just heard what Forrester had to say about how Tech Mahindra and Satyam are not perhaps the best fit. But the one thing that was working perhaps in favor of Tech Mahindra was that they had fantastic management bandwidth, right?
Yeah, when you look at this, and I'm not commenting just on Satyam and Tech Mahindra, but there is more and more need for the industry and largely bigger players to get into more verticals, pick up domain expertise. So as long as they're not overlapping, actually, it's even better, because the chance of your retaining both the customers and employees are even better. So in some manners, as I mentioned before, if you look at the footprint of Tech Mahindra, it's probably got more European business, it's got more telecom business, and I think this gives them an opportunity to diversify. And I think that would mean a lot more to the employees as well here. Surely that there are challenges of integration that come in every time, and that would be for any integration that happens. But I think this is a good thing. Either of the three would have made this successful, and we wish Tech Mahindra success with this, because in next year when we probably would review how this whole episode went, then we'll be looking for two things. One is how swiftly everybody worked and it had a good conclusion, and the second one would be, how well did the government and the regulatory authorities move in so that we could actually get to the bottom of this fraud and plug those loopholes that existed, which in the first place caused this. So I think those two we should be reviewing again, and I'm sure we should have very positive results coming out of the two.
Here's a statement that's just come in from Satyam as well, where they have indeed quoted Kiran Karnik, chairman of the board, saying, "We hope this will infuse greater confidence and comfort amongst the customers who continue to be happy with Satyam's excellent service delivery. This event ought to dispel the anxiety of all stakeholders as it repositions the company's commitment to revival and good governance." They have detailed out the technical criterion that was set out. They have also detailed out the point that after evaluating the technical bid, the financial bids came in. There was no bid within at least 90% of Tech Mahindra's bid. That's important because we know what L&T has put out, but I have not seen any details yet of what Cognizant's price was. So apparently there was no bid price that was close to that 90% mark of Tech Mahindra's price, and the money, of course, will have to be parked in an escrow account at this point. Sudhin, just to get you in on the other point that we were talking about, which is how Tech Mahindra might go about creating this synergy. I mean, some people have raised the point that perhaps business will be, or there will be a greater impetus to business for Tech Mahindra rather than its 51% subsidiary Satyam, or that the fact that they might have to look at merging the two companies. How do you think they might go about it, considering the client concerns as you just laid out?
Sure. I think just one line of clarification before I answer your question. We didn't question Tech Mahindra's management bandwidth, so we primarily talked about industry verticals. I just wanted to mention that point right on the record. Reflecting on how that integration happens, I think the bigger challenge now in front of new management team is really how do they articulate this integration and the synergies between the two companies, how they give a confidence to Satyam clients about value proposition that they bring to table together, as an integrated company. And then, there are going to be cultural issues which are more, in integration phase. But I think, Satyam's per se brand has taken some toll. So I believe that in a sustained manner, whether it's a question of 6 to 8 months or subsequently, I think, it would be at the end of the day Mahindra Group company or maybe merged into Tech Mahindra over the period. I don't think that 3 years or 2 years from now we will have a Satyam independent company. that will be a difficult task for Tech Mahindra management team to rebuild the confidence in that brand.
Ganesh, what would be the key challenges for Tech Mahindra in your eyes? Do you think it will be to deal with the employee force and whether to consider rationalization, etc., or do you think it will be to assure clients that there is a firm leader in the saddle right now, and they should not, the erosion of revenue, steady erosion of revenues every month, that should be stopped first?
No, I think obviously the erosion of revenue has to be stopped. And I just heard the comment that Kiran Karnik had made, which I completely agree with. First of all, you must realize that this is an outstanding team. They have done good work, and even their existing customers are very happy with them. So if I were running Tech Mahindra, and in fact I'm sure Mr. Anand Mahindra and people like Vineet Nair will do that, is first to leave it alone, in the sense that you don't kind of behave like a bull in a china shop and go jumping all over Satyam at this point of time. I think you should leave them alone, give the team the confidence that, hey guys, if you're doing a good job, we're going to support you all the way, and make sure that the customers know that there is a strong backing, and I really mean backing, not somebody who's coming in and saying, okay, this is how I'll do it, and this is my value proposition, etc. Give them 3-4 months, let the dust settle, let's make sure there's no customer attrition, certainly let's make sure there's no employee attrition by what they might read or sense elsewhere. And once you do that over the next 3 to 4 months, that's probably the time to go back and say that, hey, we are now Tech Mahindra and we have these other services to offer. That's what I would do. So I would play it low-key, not just try and do a merger on day one or anything like that. And you have enough time. As Som was saying, there are other issues facing the company. And I think all this together, I think the board has to play a role, the management team has to play a very sobering kind of role. And of course, customers and employees will see that and will be happy. So I don't see a big issue here. Just, take it one step at a time.